of Nicaea of more direct relevance to our course. People also often think that the Council of Nicaea is when Jesus began to be considered God. Sometimes it's said that at the council, a vote was taken for the first time over whether or not Jesus was the Son of God, and that it was a close vote. None of that is true either. None of that is true either. None of that is true either. We've already seen that Jesus was considered the Son of God, in fact, himself to be a divine being, virtually at the outset of the Christian faith. A divine being, virtually at the outset of the Christian faith. Soon after his death, as his own disciples came to declare that he had been taken up into heaven and exalted to the level of divinity. Jesus is called the Son of God, or even God, in the writings of the New Testament, as we have seen. For example, in John chapter 1, verse 1, or the hymn to Christ in Philippians chapter 2, or what Paul says in Romans 9, that Christ is God over all, blessed forever, or in Hebrews chapter 1, where God himself speaks to Christ and says, your throne, O God, is forever and ever. Christ was considered God by all the proto-Orthodox and most of the heretical Christians that we know about in the 2nd and 3rd centuries. The only real exceptions were the adoptionists, who continued to think that Jesus was a human being who was merely elevated to the level of divinity. But even they thought that he was elevated to the level of divinity. All the other heretics, the Docetists, the Gnostics, the Modalists, and the proto-Orthodox authors we've looked at, all of them, including Arius himself and Alexander, understood that Jesus was God.